Good morning. I hope what happened yesterday doesn't happen today at all. Um, so, first of all, if you can see me, please let me know. If not, then I guess Monday I have to switch to a different platform. But yeah, here we go. If you can see me, put a comment inside the chat because yesterday I was live but no one saw me. I mean, I got people asking me or messages and stuff like that, like, okay, I don't see you. Are you okay? And stuff like that. But I didn't know. So because I didn't know, I just kept on going and continue on with the message that I talked about yesterday. But if you can see me, please let me know. Like put a comment in the chat, put an emoji, something. Don't make me feel like I'm still here by myself and technology didn't work. So I don't know unless someone tells me or someone puts something out there. So I guess I'll have to wait until somebody actually do it instead of just watching me. But if you can hear me and you can see me, go ahead and put something in there. All right. So thank you, like always. Thank you, and I appreciate you for being here in the mornings. This has been a very interesting week for me, and it may have been an interesting week for you. It may have been a good week or a bad week, or however you translate that for yourself and in your own personal life. However you do it is how you do it. But what you do about it, again, is completely up to you. So, good morning, and thank you. And again, like always, you will always get appreciation here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. But again, if you can see me, let me know. Tap in, do something, send out a smoke flare, or I don't know, whatever it is. But thank you. I will always show you my appreciation. I will always show you my gratitude. We've made it to Friday. Let's clap it up. It's Friday. Not that, that I live for Friday because every day to me feels like a Monday because there's always something to do. So if that's you, you live in that type of world, trust me, you understand what I'm saying. Okay, Miss Scott. Miss Scott was like, Mr. Russell, Mr. R2, what's going on? So I apologize. I don't know. Technology won yesterday, but it's not going to win today because obviously we're in this digital space together. I can see you and you can see me. So Miss Scott, how was your week? Was it did you complete something? Was it productive? Was it trying? Was it fulfilling? Was it hard? Was it complex? Whatever it is, how was your week? Okay, Dr. Jennings, good morning to you, Dr. Jennings. How was your week as well? I see you. I know you're getting ready for was when was your mental health? Is it this week or is it next week? Okay, awesome, productive. That's good. That's beautiful to hear. That's a positive word. Strong. Okay, strong is good. It's a very, very strong word. Next week, okay. Hey, I want you guys, for those that are watching right here, that's in the Central Texas area, make sure you tap in with Dr. Jennings. She has a very strong week coming up, which is going to be proclamation. So, Dr. Jennings, what I want you to do is put the information about next week inside of the chat, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull it up into the screen so people can participate and even know more about what's going on coming from your world. So once you go ahead and put that information in there, I'm going to pull it up. But like always, what we do here on Consistency is Currency on Fridays is we give shouts out, and we give thanks and appreciation for all of our international listeners. So as you can see it on the screen. So it's not something that I'm making up. So India, well, U.S., thank you. 87% of our listeners, of course, come from the U.S. It stands to reason. India, we say thank you. Germany, Italy, Nigeria. So if you want some of that international water, maybe you should be a sponsor on Consistency as Currency because it's going to hit in these international countries. Puerto Rico, thank you. Kenya, thank you. United Kingdom, Canada, South Korea is listening. Indonesia is listening. Singapore, France, Netherlands, Pakistan, Russia, United Arab and I always chew that last name up, whatever it is. I guess I'll Google it so I can say it one day. Australia, Algeria, thank you. Saudi Arabia, Nepal, thank you. I think that's a new one. Uganda, I think that's a new one. Thank you. Morocco, Mexico, thank you. New Zealand, Ireland, Turkey, Slovenia, Namibia, Dominican Republic, Austria, U.S. Virgin Islands, Thailand, Ethiopia, thank you. Malaysia, thank you. Belgium, Philippines, Latvia, thank you. Denmark, thank you. Belize, that's a new one. Thank you, Belize. Uzbekistan, that's a new one. I heard that name before, but I don't know where that is. All right, so as far as our listeners is coming from the podcast space of Apple, 56% of our listeners come from Apple Podcasts. Web browser is just people listening to it on the computer through a web search. Anchor is coming up. Thank you for listening to it on Anchor, Google Podcast, and other. Other is like Amazon Music, Podbean, and other distribution sites. Our age demographics. Okay, this week, 67% female, 33% male for this week. And our age of listeners, oh Lord, come on, this thing tripping. Our age group is okay, 33, 33, 33. Okay, that's good. So that means our age group is coming from 23 to 27, 28 to 34, and 35 to 44. So we thank you and appreciate you for listening. For those that have been listening this week, thank you, ladies. As you can see, you've been holding it down for this week. So let me go ahead and get the other one ready while I pull up Dr. Jennings' information so you can tap into what she has going on next week. So as you can see at the bottom, while I prep this, go ahead and if you can, Dr. Jennings, if you have the link, go ahead and put that link inside the chat as well while I go ahead and prep today's message, which is, it says now, but I as I begin to go through the lesson plan and look at it a little bit more, is really tapping into the season of now. So we're going to be talking about the season of now. So as you can see, again, before we start, reach out to Dr. Jennings, tap in. She's going to put the link in there. Say, remember you matters youth and young adults suicide awareness and prevention week. So make sure you tap in to be just involved. You know, a lot of times we're not involved for whatever reason, but a lot of times we're not involved because we're not informed. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes we're not involved for whatever reason, but a lot of times we're not involved because we're not informed. So now that you know, you have been informed, so you have no excuse on saying that you didn't know. So don't even draft that excuse up or try to make that legitimate reason on why you didn't know what was going on, because now you have been informed. So thank you for putting that information out there, Dr. Jennings. Appreciate you. All right, let's go. Here we go. Peace. Good morning, Miss Anderson. So in your season of now, that's what we're going to be talking about today. In your season of now. If you feel that you're in your season of now, go ahead and put the word now inside the chat. If you're not in your season of now, it's cool, because we're going to be talking about how to get there. We're going to be talking about what are some of the things that prevent you from being in your season of now. All right, here we go. The first definition. Man, I got a definition of now that I found. I was on a platform called Free Dictionary. This definition of now I've never heard before, and it was just powerful. So the first definition we're going to be talking about is one. It says, at the present time or moment, now is the time for action. And the inversion on this, again, well, let me go back to my format. For those that may be new to the platform, watching now or watching on replay, you're going to get definitions of words and you're going to get inversions. Inversions is either going to be red over white or white over red. If I say white over red, pay attention to the words that are in white. This is an interactive platform. As you see it, you can then go ahead and draft your own understanding, because the definitions everybody can see, because you can go back and type in definition of now and see it for yourself. But what I want you to do is to think and use some of those cognitive skills to begin to draft a different and a new way of seeing it. So in the present time or in the present time or moment, now is the time or action. And the inversion that I want you to pay attention to is white over red, which is the present moment. Now is the action. The present moment now is the action. So what happens when you understand that you are in your season of now? That means you are present in the moment. Because far too often we are no longer present in the moment for whatever reason. And when we are not present in the moment, that means that we become victims to a lot of situations and circumstances, because we're not present enough, nor are we paying attention to what we have. We're looking at what we don't have. But when you look at what you do have in the moment, that allows you to begin to be able to take action in the now. Because now is an action word. That's not something that you just say, but it is something that you have to do. Now is formulated in how and when and what you do when it comes to the execution phase. How and when it comes to the execution phase, because it is now action. Not how action, but now action. That's a good one. How action, but not now action. I want y'all to chew on that one for a little bit. How action, but not now action. How many of us have lived in that world of how action, and it prevented us from like producing? Sometimes how action keeps us in that spirit of fear. Sometimes how action denies us from our own growth, because you're worried and you're crying, you're concerned about how does this always happen to me? Okay, now what? You've already opened your mouth and said, how am I going to make it? But now I'm coming back and I'm going to counter that conversation that you're having with yourself. How are you going to make it? Now, what are you going to do? Because when you understand that something has to be done, the conversation goes out the window, because the actions take place. Because it said the present moment now is the action. How is the conversation that you have with yourself. Now is what you do after you had that conversation. All right, that's enough. Oh, the second definition that I want you to pay attention to, it says now is in the time immediately before the present. Now, I like this definition. It really began to tap in to how we presently see things, and sometimes even how we presently see ourselves. Right? Because it says in the time immediately before the present. Like, I couldn't even invert anything, because this definition was so full of substance that you had to examine what the substance is for you, because it says in the time immediately before the present. What is in the time immediately before the present? It is in your thoughts, right? Look at it and examine it, and to acknowledge it for yourself. In the time immediately before the present, that means that my thoughts begin the process of formulating my actions. So before I even begin to stand up and to do something about it, I must begin to change not just my mindset, I must begin to change my set of thoughts. That's what it is. Because when you begin to change your set of thoughts, you begin to change your mindset, because that mindset change actually begins to immediately take shape and take form before the present even begins to come to pass. Right? Like, think about that for a moment. If you had a new or a different way of thinking, don't you know or don't you realize that the outcome has no other option but to change? But it has to come through your season of now. We've had too many conversations about how. That's a question to you. Like, have you had enough conversations about how? Have you written down how long enough? Because if you write a book about how, like, what's the next chapter look like? It has to look like now. It has to look like execution. It has to look like it has to develop a newness or a new mindset. If now doesn't create a new mindset for you, then you're just as much as a victim as everybody else who keeps talking about what they're going to do, but they fail, and they fail in the failure of starting. All right, that's enough. I'm gonna leave you alone on that one. Not for too long though, because this is the definition that really set me in a different tone, and you're going to hear it in the deep dive. So in this definition, this comes from the free dictionary. In this definition of now, it says now is contrasting the present with the past. Contrasting is that noticeable difference. So now is contrasting. It can also be now is a contrast of how, because it says now is the contrasting the present with the past, because your success contrasts with your failures. Right? Look at that for a moment. And I want you to look at it like, has my now, no, let's flip that. Has my how contrasted with my now? If not, then you still have work to do. There's nothing wrong with having work to do, but acknowledging that you have work to do is the best part. And then begin to formalize what is going to happen after you have acknowledged that what you're going to do is going to take place. Now it's time to take action. Because how, again, is your contrast of your now. So now let's go begin the process of this deep dive, because the season of now, if it's not here for you now, it's going to be here for you soon. But you have to prepare yourself for it. Like, are you ready? Because the season of now is the beginning presence that you're in. It's like, because remember it said that in the time immediately before the present, the season of now is being present in the moment and living in the here and the now. Now is now is where you live, but the past is where you dwell. Because if you're dwelling in the past, it's making it harder for you to see yourself in the now and in the present. And it's going to possibly make it difficult for you to project what tomorrow is going to look like, because you have too many past dwellings that you haven't let go of. So tomorrow is even harder for you to see, because you can't even see past the own cloudy lens of what happened yesterday in order for you to formulate the actions of today. Because when you begin to formulate the actions of today by living in the now, you begin to find joy in those present moments and begin to stay open to the unknown possibilities of the future you. Like, when you're in your season of now, you're going to do two things. And I want you to write this down. I want you to put this down. Either put it in the chat or you can write it down too. When you're in your season of now, you're going to do two things. One, seize the opportunity. Two, create the opportunity. Like you're going to do two things, especially when you're in your season of now. You're going to see like a lot of people, especially during the COVID time, they were in their season of now. They developed their season of now because a lot of things was stripped from them because of the time that we were in. So they begin to seize the opportunity and create opportunities. But now you're able to take your mask off, and some of you got vaccinated and you're out and about now, and you're a lot more present physically and in person. You've lost your season of now because you begin to no longer take opportunities or create opportunities. It's kind of like what we talked about yesterday. What happened to you? Like, what happened to you? What happened to those opportunities that you know and knowing that you would have taken by now? What happened to those opportunities that you know that you could have created, but you didn't create because you are still in your season of how? Like, haven't we let the locus of procrastination destroy our harvest long enough? Because procrastination is a locust. It's a locust that will destroy your harvest. It is that self sabotaging activity that will eat away at your energy. It will eat away at your time. It will eat away at your persistence, and it will eat your consistency for lunch. Like, where is your energy of now? Where is your emergency of now? The season of now is a choice. It is a conscious effort only executed by someone who is willing to do different because they want different. Wanting is the wanting is the difference of wanting is hope, right? I want more. So you're going to hope that you're going to do more. Your hope that you're going to uh go new places. I hope, so I want. But doing is different. Doing is different because it is the evidence of things that is not seen. Wanting is different because it is the hope for of the things, but doing is the evidence of things not seen, because when you begin to do things in the now, the evidence is actually going to manifest itself and to materialize because you are consistent and you're disciplined in what you're doing, and you're doing it now. Because think about it. Because if if the season of now is a choice, it's a season. I mean, it can come and go, but you don't get to choose the winter. You don't get to choose your summer. You don't get to choose your fall. You don't even get to choose your own harvest season. But you do get to choose your season of now. But your season of harvest has to yield and surrender to your season of now. I'm going to say that again, and I want you to pay attention to it. Your season of harvest has to yield and surrender to your season of now. Stop giving too many options to it. You will either do it or you won't. Like this morning, we was walking, and Joyce and I was walking, and she had asked me a question, and she was like, "What's the hardest part?" Like when we go walking and running and stuff in the morning, she was like, "What's the hardest part?" And she answered her own question. She said, "Getting up." Like, how many of you have the same thing? Like, is your hardest part getting up? What is your hardest part? Is it getting up? Is it starting? Is it being consistent? Is it being committed? Is it dedication? Like, what prevents you from your season of now? Like, answer that from a transparent way. Like, you can even use yesterday's question, like, what happened to you? What happened to you that you allowed the locust to eat away at your harvest? What happened to you that you haven't yet execute like you know that you can execute? And I want you to remember this. Don't be stealing it. I want you to remember this. Without the seeds, there will be no harvest. Without the seeds, there will be no harvest. And I want you to put that into the chat. And I want you to examine that. And I want you to understand that because I want that to hit so deep for you. Without the seeds, there will be no harvest. So where are you going with that, Mr. R2? Your season of now is the seeds to your harvest, right? Because without the seeds, there will be no harvest. But your season of now is the seeds to your harvest. Because the things that you're working on now will materialize and you will see it at the time of harvest. But it will not materialize, nor will it harvest if you allow the procrastination to sit in. Because again, procrastination is the locust to your now. Procrastination is the locust to your goals. Procrastination is the parasite to any future that you're trying to create because it eats away at it. It will begin to torment you because you are procrastinating about starting because you never thought about now is the moment. You are continuing to talk about tomorrow, but what if you started now? What if you change your mindset now? What if you change your set of thoughts now? What if you started to write it down now? What if you start to write about it now? What if you made your decision now? Like I am making a conscious and I am making a dedicated decision to do something today that I didn't do yesterday because I'm committed to what tomorrow is going to bring. Because if I want the harvest, the seeds has to be planted today. Mm. The season of now, you have to take it personal, right? You have to take those things personal because everybody has something that they want to do. And I was listening to who I was listening to yesterday. No, I was having a conversation yesterday, and this gentleman had said something that was so profound. He was talking about you have to have an ego about you, but you can't be egotistical. And I was like, ooh. I was like, ooh, that's deep because you have to have an ego about you. Like, have you ever looked in the mirrors like, dude, what you doing? Like, you got this. Like, this is you. Like, let's get this. Let's go. So have an ego about your success, but not be egotistical. Don't be egotistical and start bragging and boasting, and then you start falling victim to your own situation and circumstance. But have an ego about what you're doing. Like, man, ain't nobody better than me. I got this. No one can tell me that I can't do it because I don't tell myself I can't do it. So why would I think that what you're saying about me is even relevant? Because I told myself that I'm going to make this happen. And it's up to me. Like we always say, if it's going to be, it's up to me. You got to have that type of ego about making those things happen for you, not waiting for somebody else to draft up what your happiness is going to be. And then you read what they said that they're happy about you. What do you say about you? All right, that's enough. Um. Oh man. Remember, your harvest will not take place until you plant those seeds. Stop worrying about what your harvest look like if you ain't plant the seeds. Stop talking about why these things aren't happening to you if you haven't done anything different for yourself. The things that you do different for yourself has to change the trajectory of the outcome because the execution has changed. Stop crying about all of that and do something about it. Create new situations for you. That's what I'm gonna talk about Monday. New situations. That might be a hard one, but I'm gonna talk about it Monday. New situations. Oh man. All right. Dr. Jennings, would you like to come on Monday with new situations? I haven't had a guest, so we'll create new situations on Monday. So if you're interested in coming on a podcast on Monday, talking about new situations, let me know. But for everybody else, I appreciate you for being here. Here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. I'm Mr. R2, and I say thank you to you for being here. Thank you to you for watching. Thank you to you for living in the now and living in the present. Y'all be blessed. Peace.